What is going on, everybody? This is Audible Sportscast. How's it going, everybody? It feels like it's been forever since we've talked to y'all. You know, we took last week off. Hopefully, we don't have to really do that again. But you know, sometimes you just need a little break from things. Got Brett and Jeff here. How's it going, Brett?
Good. Glad to be back.
Oh yeah, it's always good to talk some sports. But since last time, you know, NFL season is really getting to the dirty of it. There's a lot of teams in the playoff hunt right now. Some teams a lot of people didn't think about. You know, it seems like, you know, that last spot in the NFC is going to be kind of open. At least it is right now. I know there's still a lot of games to be played, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But let's get right into it. So, last time we talked, which was for week 9, Brett and I both went 6-8. We really got to step it up here. We're picking some lousy ones, it looks like. So we got to figure some stuff out. So, you know, let's see if we can pick some winners this week. How about that?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. First up, Thursday night football game. We got Patriots heading to Atlanta to play the Falcons. Falcons going to take another 28-3 lead in this one, or what do you think?
I think that New England takes that game.
Yeah, I do too. Patriots have been looking really, really good.
And Atlanta's Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I mean, that team did not look good at all last week against the Cowboys. And then, you know, Mac Jones is really starting to, you know, figure this. I mean, he kind of has been all season, but things are clicking more and more each week. It feels like.
Yeah, they seem like it.
And, you know, that's the last thing you want to give any Patriots team is a quarterback who knows what he's doing. Because over the last 20 years, we see what that does. And honestly, I mean, Mac Jones may be a sleeper for the, or maybe not as much as a sleeper anymore, but Offensive Rookie of the Year, seems like he's kind of putting himself into
He's in the running, for
he's
sure.
Definitely him, Jamar Chase, to, you know, think of some guys definitely up there. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I think Patriots have this one too. So, yeah. Next up, we got a game that I could see being maybe the best game of the week. I don't know. It seems like it could be a very fun offensive heavy. I think right now the over-under on it's like 56 for total points. But we have the Indianapolis Colts coming into Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills.
I'm going to take the Colts on this one. I think the Colts are kind of pumping on all cylinders. Taylor's looking good, and the Bills are kind of floundering right now.
Yeah, I mean, they did have a really good win last week against the Jets. That kind of seemed to be a motivation win.
But it was the Jets.
I know, but hey, Jets almost came back and beat the Colts too.
I know, but the Jets were playing a guy who thinks he should have been the first overall pick.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Just saying. I mean, I like his confidence, but he proved that wrong.
Yeah, and now he's not playing. Joe Flacco is starting this week, but we'll talk about him later.
That just screams desperation to me.
I mean, I was very surprised when the Jets traded for Flacco, but it's a winning attitude that you don't really see from the Jets.
Well, here's the question: Is Flacco still got it?
I mean, we're gonna find out this week.
I mean, he should still have his arm strength. He has one of the strongest arms in the NFL.
Yeah, he definitely always has.
QB challenge, he did like 76 yards.
Yeah, look at some of his in the playoffs.
Don't even say it, Jacoby Jones.
Several times in that entire playoff run. I mean, in the Super Bowl against the Broncos earlier in the playoffs. I mean, that was, you know, almost 10 years ago. So a lot has happened since then. This is his second time being on the Jets since.
Is it?
Yeah, he was on the Jets prior to this, and then
before Denver, right?
I don't remember exactly, but he was on the Jets before he was on the Jets now.
I don't know. It's
I
Joe
don't know.
Flacco.
He's kind of been going. He's kind of just going everywhere nowadays. But hey,
Speaking of veteran quarterbacks, real quick side note. When Rodgers leaves Green Bay, even though Packers fans for some reason think he's going to stay after all this drama, doubtful. Do they go with Love or do they sign someone like Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco, maybe trade for a Matt Ryan?
uh, I don't know. I could see them maybe even bringing in one of those guys to be like a kind of Nick
Well,
Foles
compete.
situation that
Yeah.
Chicago did last year to compete. But I mean, I still don't 100% feel like, because he was kind of rushed into that situation against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. So it's like,
Rushed. He's been practicing all for 2 years.
yeah, practicing. But do you think Rodgers just gives him the first team reps?
Yeah, when he doesn't feel like wearing his mask, he just hits out.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't start too well either when he first came there. So I mean, it's hard to judge him.
Until that Dallas game.
That, yeah, I mean, even Chris Collinsworth said that Packers weren't going to win much with Aaron Rodgers starting a quarterback, and I mean, they won a Super Bowl. So
Yep. So I was just thinking about that the other day.
I mean, yeah, it will be interesting to see what they do depending on what kind of pieces unfold, because we know the Rodgers situation. Devontae Adams needs a new contract.
Well, here's the question: did Rodgers hurt his free agency money by doing what he did?
I don't think so, because it's a quarterback-driven league, and it's going to be a very light quarterback offseason. I mean, there's not a lot of draftable guys. There's a handful, but like Malik from the Liberty quarterback seems to be the only one from kind of the early prospects, and Baker Mayfield is the only other like guy that's free agent.
What would be amazing is if somehow he ended up on the Jets.
Rodgers?
Yes.
I mean, hey, Brett Favre almost took them to the playoffs when that happened, so.
Yeah, he took over for Chad Pennington, I believe.
Yes, he did.
And then he went to Minnesota, which I could see Rodgers doing in 2 years.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm going to take the Colts, too. I think Jonathan Taylor, he's just, like you said, he's been hot. He's definitely looking like the best back in the NFL right now. So I think that, they're going to continue to ride him, and I mean, they're in a prime spot to still make the playoffs. There's a lot of season left. So
Oh yeah.
it'll be fun to see that team goes. But yeah, I'm gonna go Colts too. So next up, we have Baltimore Ravens coming into Chicago to play the Bears. Bears since 2013 have never won coming out of their bye, which is this week, and Lamar Jackson has never lost to an NFC team.
Never?
Never since he came in the NFL.
Okay, I'll just make this one easy. Then I'll just go with the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see this going any other way. Even with Bears at home, Matt Nagy, comes out and doesn't really, say anything supportive of his players. He came out the other day and pretty much blaming the team, not taking.
No, he's just talking about the NFL's taunting rule.
No, he came out and also said something about how he's talking about the losing streak and how everybody's to blame. He's not putting any consideration into himself, and taking one for the team pretty much.
Yeah, it's all Khalil Mack's fault.
Yeah, just blame Khalil Mack.
He's the highest paid player. It's easy to do.
I mean, you're going to do it with quarterbacks. Blame the quarterbacks. But yeah, Ravens have this one. I mean, I hope they don't, but Ravens got this one. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions, who are now not lossless because of a tie, going into Cleveland to face the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's having its issues right now. Baker's really banged up, but I mean, Detroit will definitely hang around in this game, but I just can't see.
Did Detroit re-sign McGough? Or
he
got traded?
He just got traded.
I have a feeling Detroit just cuts him and just starts. I don't know what they do in Detroit.
I mean, it's possible, but like I said a second ago, there's not really that dude.
Aaron Rodgers.
But Aaron Rodgers has to be pretty much traded.
No. After the season, he's a free agent. That's the way they restructured it.
I thought there was another year, but it's like a voidable year, so the team has to like cut him. Don't you think they'd rather get something for him and pretty much get a whole nother situation similar to what we kind of saw this offseason?
I thought he was already a free agent.
No,
Oh,
I'm pretty
you're right.
sure he's avoidable.
He won't be a true free agent until 2023.
Yeah, it's just like a voidable year, so all the money's pretty much in this year. After, I think actually it has to be like a post-July trade or something. Yeah, Cleveland definitely has this. I think Jared Goff just hasn't looked good. You can tell they're not putting the game in his hands. They're just throwing a lot of screens and short passes. So, I mean, Cleveland was pretty much embarrassed last week. You're going to, hope they do something for the home crowd, try to get some motivation going, because they're going to need something if they want to continue a playoff push once they, start getting a little bit healthier.
I mean, they're just struggling right now. It's just...
They got a lot of divisional games left, too, so it'll be interesting to see, because that division, there's a lot that can still go down. All these teams are kind of, 1 or 2 wins apart with a lot of division games left to be played.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
AFC North will be very interesting to see how that comes in the pretty much second half of the season. But
yeah, there's a lot of interesting things we got to watch out for. So.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of moving pieces with this little playoff picture. Nothing is guaranteed quite yet. A couple things kind of are, but nothing really is. Next up, we got a very interesting game, a divisional game. We got the Houston Texans coming into Tennessee to play the Titans. Now, while the Texans are not that good, and, you have Tennessee, who's, even without Derrick Henry, has looked pretty good the last couple weeks. I mean, they were kind of in a back-and-forth, not necessarily back-and-forth game against the Saints, but it's definitely a lot closer than maybe some people might have expected with New Orleans without their quarterback. But Tennessee and Houston always play close games, it feels like, So this is a tough one. I mean, I'm going to go Tennessee here, but what do you think?
Yeah, Tennessee as well. I think they're just, even though with their injuries, and I think if they make it through this no running back situation, it might make them a better team.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like forgetting who they are either. They're still, running the ball, Donta Foreman has been doing a good job imitating Derrick Henry in the best way he can.
Oh, yeah.
And, Adrian Peterson's still there, too, and he's still got some left in the tank. So, if he can stay around for a playoff push, I wouldn't mind seeing, Adrian Peterson have a nice little playoff game, too.
Yeah, that's just because he's been around forever and we like him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we saw him run a lot of good games against the Bears. I've seen him run in person a game or two I went to.
He's just one of those running backs that has excitement to him before he was even. He just has a way of running.
I mean, there's a reason why his nickname's All Day, because he can do it all day. But next up, speaking of Adrian Peterson, we have the Green Bay Packers coming into Minnesota to play the Vikings. Another game that seems to always be somewhat close. And I mean, the Vikings might be 4-5, but they could easily be like right up there with the Packers in the record. They
could be. And here's a question:
finishing games.
Do you have faith in the Packers after last week's debacle?
I mean, Aaron Rodgers activated on a Saturday night, having to play Sunday.
Oh, come on! He knew he was gonna play.
Well, yeah, he knew, but he wasn't able to practice with the team. Even if he was, I mean, there's so many little small things that do kind of carry over. How much does it carry over? We don't really know, not playing in the NFL.
Yeah, I just think I don't think the Seattle's defense is that great. That game was really bad. It was like watching.
It was just an ugly game.
It was like watching the Bears versus the Bears when they had Nagy calling plays against each other.
I wouldn't make my worst enemy watch that. But I mean, Aaron Jones is going to miss. He's out. I mean, you're starting to get into the weather where a guy like A.J. Dillon is.
I'm going to go Minnesota. Even though I think Dalvin Cook's going to get in trouble at some point here coming up.
I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother situation.
Don't think he actually did anything. It doesn't seem that way, but it's just the way it's getting too much media attention.
I honestly thought the other way around. It seems to not getting much media attention.
I hear about it a couple times a week.
Yeah, well, it's when you're in Green Bay, that's a little different.
I'm not in Green Bay, Milwaukee, but still
in
the area. I know. I just hear about it. Like it's kind of one of those like, I don't think he did anything, but you know how the world we live in. It's just doesn't matter if you're, actually innocent if you're proven guilty in the court of social media.
Yep. But you're starting to catch me in wins. So this is a game I'm gonna just go against you with. I'm gonna go Green Bay. So I mean, I could definitely be a close game. It is in Minnesota, and I think Aaron Rodgers, another week back, is just gonna look. He's gonna do his stuff like he normally does. But yeah, this seems like a game Minnesota will win. But I gotta go the other way.
That's fair.
Next up, we got a very exciting AFC East battle. When you consider exciting being the worst teams possibly in the NFL, or some of the worst, I should say. We got the Miami Dolphins, who are on a little bit of a streak here, going into the New York Football Jets territory to play them. Not to mention, we talked about Joe Flacco. He's going to be starting this week. We talked about that a lot earlier.
I think if you go off the roster alone, the Dolphins are better team.
Yeah, if you go off the roster alone, if you want to go off the roster alone for the games last week, you probably would have only picked 2 or 3 right games.
I'm picking the Jets, or not the Jets. I'm picking the
Dolphins.
Yes.
I'm actually going to go the Jets. Not because I'm just going against you. I just feel like this is a game for the Jets. I mean, Joe Flacco, for some reason in my mind, feels like the second coming of Jesus for the Jets. I don't know why. I'm not saying he's gonna take them to the playoffs or anything, but this feels like a game Joe Flacco could do well in. I mean, they have a lot of the pieces there. Slowly, I mean, the defense has not looked that bad in certain games. Yeah, they got completely killed by the Bills last week, but I think this is a matchup a lot more on their level, and not to mention the QB situation in Miami. Like, neither of them are fully healthy, so if that defense doesn't really help them out, Miami doesn't do a good job moving the ball. Now, it'll be different against the Jets defense, but I'm gonna go Jets.
That's fair.
Next up, we got a game that's a little bit more interesting. We got the New Orleans Saints heading into Philly to play the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a tough one.
It is.
Both these teams, not playing their best football, but I mean, can Philly take this one? I think they can.
I think they can too. They're the healthier of the two teams.
Exactly what I'm thinking. Wow, I feel like this could be a game the Saints defense could win on their own. I've liking what Devonta Smith's been doing there.
I don't like Simeon.
Shows potential. I'm not a big fan of Simeon, no, but they know how to mix in Taysom Hill too to get kind of a difference and kind of keeping defenses on their heels. But I mean, that Eagles defense too, they've been kind of balling a little bit this year. I mean, Darius Slay's been kind of showing what he used to be in Detroit when no one cared.
They're just kind of a quiet team. You don't really talk about much. You don't hear about the Eagles too much, and they just kind of keep on trucking.
Because they're just mediocre, They'll win a game or here and there, and then they'll go on a losing streak or get embarrassed. So there's not much to talk about. But yeah, there's definitely the potential there. Miles Sanders, still isn't back, but Jordan Howard in his place has been playing fairly well.
I know, that's shocking. When I saw his stat line, I was like, oh, he rushed for 70 yards or 80 yards, whatever he did.
Yeah, he was running hard. It kind of reminds me of what he used to be.
I wouldn't mind seeing him do well, but
oh yeah, he's one of those guys I always root for. I mean, I have his jersey in my closet right now. not the Eagles colors. But
Moving
yeah,
on.
we're both going Eagles here. So next up, we got the Washington football team, coached by Ron Rivera, coming into Carolinas to play the Panthers, Rivera's old team, and his old quarterback in Cam Newton, who's expected to start this week.
I like both teams actually. Washington just been disappointing me all year, to be honest.
Now Chase Young is out for the season.
They got some pretty good. No, it
Yeah, they
doesn't
got
help.
depth, but it doesn't help.
Problem is, does Cam Newton have a dud of a game after last week, looking like he was back? I'm back, or does he come back and lights out? That's where I struggle with it.
Well, here's another thing. We didn't really get to see a lot of a healthy Cam Newton with a healthy Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
This is honestly might be the closest we've seen of both of them being this healthy.
but you also have on the opposite side of the coin, you have Heineke who can show up for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns out of nowhere. So
But then show up and throw a dud.
yeah, I'm gonna go Carolina only because I'm more confident in their defensive scheme and their players.
Yeah, I'm going Carolina too. You know, I am very interested to see what Cam Newton will do. I've always kind of been a fan of his. You know, I kind of fell in love with his play style back in the day. But yeah, I'm gonna go Carolina as well. Next up, we got interesting game here. We got the 49ers heading into Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Is Urban Meyer going to get his third win of the season?
No, he is not.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how the 49ers have played last week. I mean, it didn't look anything
Their
good
defense
before.
looked amazing last week. Everything else was meh.
I mean, their run game, you know, that's what that team is. If they're going to run, I mean, if they can run, they're going to, you know, they're more than likely going to win. So,
And I do like the fact that they just signed a bunch of young guys to an extent and didn't go sign some 29, 30-year-old veteran. They just like to run the young guys.
well, yeah, that's what they kind of do every year. They'll draft a running back or two, or you know, sign some young guys and just bring them in.
And they really like to get Debo involved.
Oh yeah,
They
that's the thing
love
that
to.
and he does a good job of it. He's quick. He can break tackles. I mean, the way they're putting him into this system is amazing.
I mean, if they keep using him like that, he's going to be potentially the best wide receiver in the NFL doing what he's doing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't really know what it reminds me of.
It's kind of uncharted territory. Randall Cobb did it a little bit.
But
Montgomery did it a little bit.
They didn't do it in the same sense of like physicality, though.
No, I'd like to see Mooney do it, but for us, but we'll see.
They've kind of used him in some senses similar ways, but definitely not as much. I mean, we saw him get a rushing touchdown the week before, Darnell Mooney. But
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go 49ers here. I mean, when the 49ers can pretty much do whatever they want, they have a lot of success. But I mean, yeah, I think 49ers have this one kind of in the bag. We'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Trevor Lawrence plays against that 49ers defensive front. But yeah, got to go 49ers here.
I agree.
Next up, we have a game that's very back and forth when you look at kind of how everybody's looking at it. We have the Cincinnati Bengals when they're coming into Las Vegas to play the Raiders. This is a tricky one.
It is.
Both these teams have showed a lot of potential, but at the same time, they've struggled in the last couple of weeks.
I'm going Cincy because for some reason I just like them better. I'm basing it off of I just like what Cincy's doing. I guess I've seen them so bad for so long, and this goes back. I'll even go back to the Carson Palmer days. I just want them to eclipse that, to get better than that. You know, Andy Dalton at his height, and I think he's the quarterback to do it. I do.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got that, you know, swagger that you not necessarily need, but looks amazing when you do win.
You gotta love a team that signs T.O. and Ocho Cinco. Sorry, when they
Even
played
though
together.
that was like 10 years ago.
It was, and I think T.J. Hoosh was on the team too. So they had actually.
But I'm gonna go Bengals here too. I think just the Raiders are in a little bit of a struggle bus as they normally are, you know, every year. at this point in the season. So yeah, I'm gonna go Bengals too. Next up, we got a very fun and what could be super high offensive game. We got the Dallas Cowboys coming into Kansas City to play the Chiefs. Have the Chiefs figured themselves out?
No.
You still don't think the Chiefs are where they should be?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think Mahomes' confidence is back a little, but he's going against. I'm not gonna. I'll say a top 10 defense, and Dallas has been firing on all cylinders all year.
Yeah,
look at what they
for 2 weeks
did,
ago.
but look what they did last week in the first half.
That is true.
I mean, when I flipped over to that game, it was like, whoa, and it was the defense, a lot of it.
I mean, the Chiefs defense too has, not been that good this year. They've struggled a lot. And this could be another game they do struggle.
I just think they've gotten to the Chiefs have gotten to that point where the little fast receivers are great, but they're not catching simple passes.
No, not to mention that they're not really running a lot. So, these teams can stay in these, too high safeties.
7 DBs, 8 DB sets.
Yeah, and, that allows them a lot of, cushion to make sure they don't get beat deep, and they can keep everything in front of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that necessarily the Chiefs are getting figured out. It's just, maybe a rough season for them.
Potentially, yep. I'm going to go
Yeah.
Dallas. Yeah, I got to go Dallas in this. I know I said that. I'm just reiterating.
I keep going back and forth on this one. It's very tough, but I'll you know what? Give me Kansas City. It's in KC. How's Dak going to do in a little bit of colder weather? I think it's supposed to be a little bit cooler this weekend, so we'll see. Next up, we got NFC West showdown, Cardinals Seahawks. Kyler's expected to come back this week, more than likely.
Maybe. They're both questionable. I'm looking at it right now. Colt McCoy and Kyler Murray.
It's in Seattle. Russell Wilson didn't have the best game coming back.
And since you're trying to catch me on games, and I actually don't think either quarterback plays this week from what I've read and heard.
Between Colt McCoy and Kyler?
Yeah. Both are limited. And if they don't have either of them play, it is a wrap in Seattle. It's not. You might as well not even play, just forfeit. I'm going to go Seattle. I think they get their second loss, or they get. Is that their second loss or third?
This would if they were to lose in Seattle, it would be their third.
Yeah, their third loss. I think, and then it evens up that it makes that division even more entertaining than it already was.
Yeah, I mean, but in that situation, do the Seahawks have enough stamina to make a push for the playoffs?
No, I don't think they do, but I think they have enough talent with Russell Wilson on the offensive end to score some points. You haven't heard much about DK Lockett this year. They've been kind of mute.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely haven't. Seattle's defense hasn't played that bad. I mean, they played well against Green Bay. Even though Green Bay won that game, they still played well. With that much being said about Kyler and Cole, yeah, I'll go Seattle. I know you kind of said that for me to try to catch, but I'm going Seattle. For me to try to get away from you, yep. Sometimes you gotta go with your gut, no matter what the other person's trying to do. Yeah, I know. But next up, we got Pittsburgh Steelers coming into San Diego. Play the Chargers. Nope, they're not coming to San Diego. All these teams moving around, it's hard to keep up sometimes. They're going to L.A. to play the Chargers. How do you feel about this one? I've liked the Chargers all year. They've just been lacking expectations for me. Yeah, they've kind of been struggling a little bit. Still pretty good team, though. Oh, I mean, it's a very talented. I believe they have several players on the COVID list, though. I believe Bosa and a couple others who aren't expected to play. Pittsburgh's just been the better team this year. I'm going to go Pittsburgh, even though I don't really care for Big Ben anymore at quarterback. I think he's old. But
I still think they're, and he's actually picked it up on his throws. He's not looking as bad. So Pittsburgh it is for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go saying, or I'm going LA, the Chargers edition of LA for this one. I think that that Chicago maybe kind of showed. Oh, the last two games really that the Steelers have played have kind of showed that there's some things going around in Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I think it'll be an interesting game. But I'm gonna go Chargers here for the Sunday night game, and then for the Monday night game, we have New York Giants coming into Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers have been kind of struggling a little bit the last couple weeks. Do they get a bounce back game here against the Giants?
Yep. They should. They should. Will they? Yes, they should. I think they will. I think they will. I like the Bucks. I just think they're saving themselves for the playoffs.
I mean, very rarely do you see Tom Brady lose 3 in a row. This would be his third loss in a row. So I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, I got to go Bucks here. It's just that, like we said, it's definitely the more talented roster. But you can't always go off of that, of course. I mean, New York has won a couple, they won 3 games, I guess. But, they've played fairly well this year compared to maybe how some people thought they would.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm gonna
Saquon possibly back. Low chance.
They're a work in progress team. They just need so much, and I think they'll get it once if free agency opens up for them. And
not to mention they have 2 first-round picks, and one being Chicago's, and Chicago's right now I think a top 10 pick for them.
Yep. I still just think they're like Cincinnati. They got time.
Yep. But that's all the games for the week. So next up, we have our Add a Legend segment, which, reminder for all of you who listen, that's where we go to our an NFL team's past, try to find a player that had played for that team for at least 4 years and, is retired. And we add them to that team and see, how good of a chance they have at winning the Super Bowl or, for some cases, just winning a game or 2. And so this week, we're looking at the Green Bay Packers, who, of course, have a very storied, historic franchise and have been around for a very long time. So, who do you got, Brett? Who do you think your home state needs to make them have a Super Bowl push that they probably will have either way?
Charles Woodson, I think. They need somebody like that at defense. They're kind of just floundering out there, it looks like to me. Some of the young guys aren't playing bad, but it's just you can't deny Woodson's better than all of them. So.
He's Defensive Player of the Year for them. He used kind of the corner piece of that defense when they did go to the Super Bowl.
He played corner, safety. He could play inside, outside. He's just kind of.
He's a guy who can make any defense better. And,
maybe
he's a leader
Kevin
too.
King. Yeah, he's definitely a leader.
He's smart. He's rough. He's everything you want out of a.
He hates Tom Brady.
He's if it wasn't for Tom Brady, he'd maybe have a couple more Super Bowls, aka the Tuck Rule. But that's a story for y'all.
Who are you picking?
I kind of agree with you. Going on the defensive side, at first I thought maybe getting Aaron Rodgers another weapon, and like maybe a Jordy Nelson or a Sterling Sharp, who, if none of you know, Sterling Sharp is definitely probably one of the more underrated players in the NFL because he didn't have a long career. Sterling Sharp. But I'm going to go Reggie White. He was a menace when it comes to defensive linemen. Just look at the Super Bowl he played in with them. He was completely tearing those offensive linemen apart. He was throwing them back. And when you look at the Green Bay, they could definitely use an edge rusher. They just lost Rashawn Gary. They're still waiting for the Smith brothers to either be healthy or figure themselves out. So adding a guy like Reggie White would be amazing for that defense. You don't just get the nickname the Minister of Defense for no reason. He's known.
Well, he was a minister.
he was known as one of the greatest, defensive players in the NFL. I mean, what is he, second in all time in sacks?
He's up there. I don't know exactly where he is, but he's up there, definitely.
198, and so he's, I think, second or third. So yeah, he's one of the greater players to.
Oh yeah.
Not
I think he might even have more of a presence than Rod Woodson does. I was going to say Rod Woodson. I meant Charles Woodson, but yeah, he's more of a presence for leadership.
Oh yeah, when you talk about Reggie, you have to, talk about the presence he has as a leader. I mean, whether it was spiritual or whatnot, he was very, very spiritual. I mean, if you all want a good movie to watch, go watch Reggie's Prayer. That's a good one for you. It's all about Reggie White. But yeah, I think adding a guy like him, I mean, some people say that the Packers wouldn't have, went to the Super Bowl as many times or even won it in the 90s without him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a monster. But that's all we got for you. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, send the feedback wherever you watch. If you want to follow the social medias, they'll be linked below. If anyone wants to come on, talk some sports, none of you have yet, but hey, we're just going to keep.
Hopefully soon.
Someone does.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah. Just have fun watching experiences of sports. There's still lots of sports going on. Baseball's over now, but we still got football going on. A lot of fun basketball games. College basketball just started. We're kind of in the rough, little fun stages of college football. I mean, there's lots of fun sports to be watching.
Oh yeah.
Right now. I mean, hockey. If any of you are into hockey, there's been some fun hockey. But that's all we got for you. Have a good weekend, everybody.